All right, guys, we're going to talk about fall tree planting. Ace and a lot of your big box stores, even a lot of your smaller nurseries, are going to have their trees on sale right now. It's middle of December, so I grabbed from Ace today a really cool Fuyu, that's Fuyu persimmon, a sour cherry, and a sweet cherry. All three of these are self-pollinated, self-fertile, so I do not have to mate them with another tree. And that makes things a little easier here in a small food forest. So I'm currently working on getting this persimmon in the ground. I'm going to switch the video around here in a minute to show how I break up the roots, how I prepare the planting site. So I'm going to knock out this hole and let it keep rolling, so you guys feel free to skip ahead a little bit until I get this hole ready to go. We've been getting rain off and on for the past few days, so the soil's light used to work now. But it's East Tennessee, so you can hear the rocks. I want to make the hole, they say to make it the same diameter as the pot. I like to make it about 25% bigger than that, so that I'm backfilling with loose stuff and the roots have an easier time getting established. Because I know my drainage up here is pretty good, I'm going to make the hole about the same depth as the pot as I carve out a really big rock. I kind of started this a few minutes earlier, so most of it, good night. Most of the rocks I find around here are about the size of my fist, but every now and again I pull up one of these guys. East Tennessee chert. Around here I like to take the rocks and I use them to fill in washouts in the driveway as we work on repairing the driveway. And then I actually use them as boulders in quite a few places as well. So I don't really export them. I just relocate them to a more useful site. Sometimes I'll clean them up and look at them. Some of these actually are geodes. And you can find cool patterns. Pop one more good sized one out of here. And our planting spot will be just about ready to go. So this little tree, I'll bring this down here so you guys can see what I'm going to do. This little tree has been in this pot its whole life, I'm sure. Maybe potted up once. I expect the roots not as bad as I thought. So, and this might just be a persimmon thing, but I want to get this guy's roots loose. I think a lot of people worry that they're gonna hurt the tree by doing this, and I feel like it's kind of the other way around. If we just plop these right into the ground straight from the pot, I'm not sure that the tree knows, at least for the first year or two, that it's no longer in the pot. So if we kind of open up these roots, I think that kind of triggers a response to spread the roots out and not keep just spinning them in a circle the way it's been forced to in a pot. So there's one. And if you guys will excuse me real quick, I forgot my pruners. Pruners. Okay, probably had a weird audio cut out from the headset. I use my inexpensive pruners for this because this is the equivalent of running them into the dirt and dulling them out. So I just kind of find a root here that's spun back in towards the center and just kind of clip it away. So those will have an opportunity to dig into the new soil. Kind of got all these feeder roots on top. Just kind of loosen them and let them fall down. So my hole, through this. There it is. I want to get my graft, or in this case, the root, before this main, where this first root comes off. Keep it about level with, ground level with the way it was in the pot, essentially. And if it's a tree that's been grafted, just make sure that graft is a little bit above ground. So this is actually a little too deep, so I'm going to throw a little bit of backfill in to raise it up. Sometimes I even use a little bit of the sod that came up and just invert it. There we go. I'm not throwing those rocks back in. Backfill. So I've left about 3 or 4 inches of space between the edge of the root ball and the actual edge of the hole. So this little persimmon should have no trouble putting in new roots. Like I said, my soil is pretty well drained, so I'm just backfilling with what I already have here. But it's okay to use bag topsoil if you're working with some super duper clay or a gravel pit, the way it was doing those trees out at Special Operations Equipment in Camden. And there's different opinions on the whole tamping thing. I kind of go for a middle approach. I don't try to knock out every bit of air gap because oxygen is handy, but I do want it to be firm enough to help support that root ball when we get wind and crazy weather. And then finally, not really going to worry about showing this, but when I mulch it, I don't mound it up on the trunk. Don't make a volcano. Just scatter mulch around it, leave a couple of inches from around the base of the tree. That helps prevent critters or disease from possibly propagating itself. And it's okay to use what came out of the pot. Kind of scatter that on top. So here in a second I'll switch that video around and show you guys a little persimmon So that's a Fuyu, F-U-Y-U. Careful how you say that. These are, I'm 90% sure these are self-pollinated. I'm going to actually double check the tag, but I've seen them in several places where there's just one. I believe persimmons are, you have males and females. So if you have a female fruit producing, you should be good to go. A lot of times in the wild, especially here on our farm, we'll find lots and lots and lots of male persimmons, which make a lot of leaves and stuff, but they don't fruit. All right. With this, there she is. Little, about 4 foot persimmon. I did a pruning job, or not specifically pruning, but I was on a job that had one of these last month, and it was 5 feet tall and it was already producing fruit. This one will ultimately get 20 to 30 feet tall. That's why I've got it on the edge of my food forest, so if I can let it get tall, or I might just kind of keep it down to about 10 or 12 feet. So I'm gonna knock out those 2 little cherries down there here in a little bit. If you guys have any questions about planting fruit trees, give me a holler. strongrootsresources@gmail.com.